each and everyone in Zoom land tonight. Thanks for the invitation. You've given me a really challenging task to sit on a table together with Bernice. She's my senior. You've noticed she can push me around, right? Change the order of things, right? So I am really grateful for this great opportunity. Tonight, I hope you'll be taking off your shoes, and I would like you to take off your shoes and put your feet, in the place or in the shoes of migrant workers who come to Canada day in, day out. I have in my hands there a fruit and a vegetable. From 1966, I've been coming to your home, putting food on your table. Have you ever recognized me? I'm not sure. Tonight, we want to examine those things and see whether this is the conditions that migrant workers face in Canada, whether they represent fair and just conditions, or whether they represent conditions that are archaic and 18th century. I want to tell you a couple of things. During the pandemic, we were encouraged to stay home, stay home, stay home. For yourself, for ourselves, stay home. But suddenly, people begin to question, where is my food going to come from? How reliable is that supply going to be? How if I'm encouraged to stay home, where is my food going to come from, right? So quickly, I want to do a quick health check with you. During the pandemic, we are encouraged to stay home, right? And staying home meant a lot of things, right? Were we eating properly and so on? Let me do a quick health check. In school, they taught me that my body has 11 systems. I hope your body too have 11 systems. I want to know tonight in a quick health check, I want to know whether the fruits and vegetables I've been providing you with, whether they've been keeping your body system healthy. SS, your skeletal system, how healthy is that? CS, your circulatory system, is that healthy? Have you been able to go outside and walk, as somebody was suggesting today with such great weather? MS, your muscle system, how healthy is that? IS, immune system, that one is under the microscope these days. Huh? It's about COVID, it's about vaccine. How strong is your immune system? How healthy are those foods and fruits and vegetables that we've been producing? How healthy is that keeping your immune system? And the list goes on and on. But tonight, I want to tell you, I want to focus on SS, the skeletal system. What do I mean by that? I want to tell you that the topic I have on hand right now, it is so complicated. It is very difficult to understand, very complicated. It is so complicated that it is very difficult for migrant workers to navigate it. It is so complicated, it is impossible for migrant workers to get justice. It is so complicated, I cannot tell you everything tonight. I can only give you the skeleton. And I'm hoping that in Q&A and Bernice would add to it and further reading down the line, you'd add other layers of knowledge to it. I want to tell you, in my presentation, you'll see things that are present in our everyday society. We'll see how money, we'll see how power, we'll see how influence, these are the forces that are driving society. And you'll know, we all know that these forces, they are always in search of cheap labor, cheap materials, tax havens, resource extraction. All of this is happening in the global south. Tonight, you will see, as a result of these forces pushing these things, you'll see that it is causing a lot of displacement. You'll see creating unemployment, creating poverty. I want to tell you, in my home country, red and white means love. I've felt the love of Canada in my home country on two great occasions. I don't have time to go into it. But also in my home country, red means danger. In school, they taught me that the fruits and the vegetables, the food that we eat, they're synthesized in the green leaves of plants. But when I see a red leaf, every time I see that red leaf, it reminds me of the danger that migrant workers face in the production of food, fruits, vegetables, fish, name it, all the different things that are being produced in Canada. Once migrant workers are involved in it, there are 20 injustices. And those injustices, they are at every level of government. And I'm hoping I can tell you a little bit about it. Do I have your patience now? Do I have your attention? How do we get from the seed all the way to your plate or to your table? How do we get there? I want to draw your attention here to what are people planting? What are people picking? Why are people packaging? Why are people processing and so on? Taking care of your fruits, even doing the distribution. Why are people even preparing your meals at the restaurants and so on? They are all people of color. Every stage of the food system, it is people of color. And who are those people? They earn minimum wage. You know what's minimum? We have precarious status, and you will see we work long hours, and we will get into a little more detail. But at the end of the day, what I want to tell you, that the food that you eat, a lot of the food that we eat, and we know the pandemic really exposed that, right? Our food really is trusted in the hands of a few large corporations, right? And whoever controls the land controls food. Whoever controls food controls you. And all along the food system, it's people of color who are doing the hard work. Now, listen to that. Tell me whether that's an accident. Tell me whether that's an accident, coincidence, or by design. I want to define who is a migrant worker, and that's definition, and that is enshrined in Canadian law. Is that an accident? Enshrined in Canada. Is that an accident or by design? The other name for migrant worker in Canada is denied. Denied is our name. We are denied the right to vote. You may say, oh, that's not important. But let me tell you, PPP, our poverty in Canada is because of the unjust policies of the politicians. The same politicians who create those unjust laws, we cannot vote them in, we cannot vote them out. They are untouchable. They are arm's length away from us. We are denied the right to vote. We are denied the right to participate in culture and community life. We are denied the right to participate in family life. What does that make me? What does that make me? To be denied those things, to be denied the right to participate in family life, that makes me half human. Who is a migrant worker in Canada? We are half human in Canada. Canada consistently, from the birth of Canada up to this day, Canada consistently have programs in place that dehumanize and exploit people. And the list goes on and on. Who is a migrant worker in Canada? I'll get into more of that, but it is people of color. I want to tell you, I've been all across Canada searching for the nicest bag. I hope this is the nicest bag, and I hope it's dazzling, even dazzling your eyes. And that's how it's presented to you, right? And what is presented to you, I call it the greatest marriage. What is that? But the way it's presented to you is it dazzles your eyes, right? And look at how it's presented to you. It's presented to you in a way that you cannot even see. It's presented to you in the form of buy local. When you buy local, you think of freshness. The fruits and vegetables that you buy, you think of freshness. You're thinking of good health, supporting the local. I love freshness. I love supporting the local economy and so on. But tonight, I want to open that bag. When we buy local, let us open that bag tonight. What is Canada saying? The fruits and the vegetables that you buy, all those things that migrant workers produce, what is Canada saying? Canada is saying, bring me people who are Black, people who are brown, people who are of color. Bring me people of color to produce those foods. That's one. Number two, Canada is saying, I like people of color, but I even rather when those people of color, English is a second language to them, or they're illiterate. And Canada is also saying a third layer. People of color, they struggle with English and they're ignorant about labor issues and they're ignorant about human rights issues. Let me go over that. Canada is saying we want people of color, we want people who struggle with English, and we want people who don't know anything or very little about human rights issues and labor issues. What is Canada saying? We'll bring those people to do all the hard work. And during the pandemic, it is very clearly highlighted. During the pandemic, unemployment maybe was at its highest, maybe up to now, it's still very high. And even at the point where Canada, when unemployment is so high in Canada, Canadians still do not want to do that work. Why is that so? Why they do not want to do that work? Why? Because the conditions are not attractive. So Canada is saying we'll welcome those guys, people of color, we'll welcome them in a climate of fear. I hope I can touch a little about fear in that. We'll welcome them in a climate of fear. To keep them compliant and submissive. To keep them compliant and submissive, we'll keep them poor so that we will all exploit them. And where is that happening? That is happening in Canada. Canada is known as a country with a culture of silence. All of that is happening in Canada, in a country that is known to be a country with a culture of silence. And is that an illegal program? That has the full blessing of government. It's not an illegal program. I want to tell you, I didn't come to Canada by choice. I was forced to come to Canada. And here are three simple things, in a nutshell, three things that forced me to come to Canada. Had I come here by choice, I would be a tourist. I would be a visitor. Here's World Trade Organization. This is just one of many institutions that keep the great divide between the developed and the developing countries. Because of the World Trade Organization, I am in Canada. Because of GI, global inequality, there's sufficient resources in the world for everybody to live comfortable, sufficient. But because of the great divide, global inequality, I was forced to come to Canada. I was forced to come to Canada because of ED, environmental destruction. In my home country, I was doing 5 different things, but just one hurricane messed up everything. But what are the countries causing global warming and climate change? The developed countries. What are countries paying the price? The global south. So I was forced to come to Canada because of the actions of the developed countries. I want to tell you, when I got to Canada, when I arrived in Canada, I got a telephone number. Have you seen that telephone number before? I got a telephone number. And I want to tell you, the program that brought me to Canada is like a telephone number and it's like a tree. Have you seen a tree with a telephone number? Only in Canada. Only in Canada I've seen that. A tree has a telephone number. Let me get to that telephone number quickly. Number 56. I want to tell you, the program that brought me to Canada, this year, it's 56 years. It started in 1966. It started in Jamaica, where Canada decided to bring people of color to come and produce food. So this year, it's 56 years. Let me go to the telephone number. Number three means the 3 simple parts of that tree: the stem, the branches, the leaves. I am in Canada because of the stem of that tree. What is the stem? The stem means we are here to do jobs Canadians do not want to do. And even during the pandemic, when unemployment is so high, Canadians still do not want to do it because the conditions are not right. What are the jobs Canadians do not want to do? All the D jobs, the dirty, difficult, dangerous jobs. And what about these jobs? They are non-unionized work. Can you imagine for a minute the working conditions associated with non-unionized work? So we are doing non-unionized work. We are doing jobs Canadians do not want to do. What is number 2? The branches. We are here in Canada because we are here. The program it's called temporary. We are just for a short period of time. But from 1966 to now, 56 years, we're still temporary. So that's why some people say we are permanently temporary. Isn't that an irony? So we are here temporarily. We do not have status. And in Canada, if you do not have status, it means you are denied basic human rights. It means that you are denied basic labor standards. And that is enshrined in Canadian law. We just pointed that out. You're denied a lot of things, right? So imagine you're here to do jobs Canadians do not want to do, or non-unionized work. And at the same time, you're denied basic human rights, basic labor standards. And the list, what does the list stand for? We are here to do those dirty jobs. We are here to be, and at the same time, deny those basic rights. And at the same time, we are tied to our employer. Let me go over that. To be tied to our employer, to do the jobs Canadians do not want to do, and at the same time, being denied basic human rights, being denied basic labor standards. I want to draw your attention to 9 instruments, right? Let me see how close I can place them. 9 instruments. What is the first one here? Have you seen that in Canada? Have you seen that in our system? That they create an addiction problem, and they create they control the supply of that thing. They create an addiction problem, and they are the ones controlling the supply. Have you seen that? Is that in our society? Who does it affect? As a result of that plan that is in our society, what do? What is the objective here? A dependent populace cannot fight back. A dependent populace kind of fight. Who are the people? Have you seen that in your society, in your community? Here's another one. Have you seen that? Is that for true? Is that real stuff? Have you seen that? Do you agree to that? Keep them hungry. They keep us hungry, and then they provide us with food without substance. Is that a real thing in Canada? Isn't that one of the key things that people of color face, not getting access to culturally appropriate foods? As a result of that, what they do, what is the objective? A desperate populace cannot fight back. A desperate populace cannot fight back. Here's another one. Make shelter scarce and difficult to sustain. Is that a reality in our society? What is the objective of doing that? What is the objective of doing that? An unstable populace cannot fight back. Here's another one. Point out the differences and create conflicts. Is that a real thing in our society? What is the objective of that? A populace fighting itself cannot fight back. Here's another one. Is that a real thing in our society, in our community? Divide them into tribes and build walls between them. Is that a real thing in our society? What is the objective of that? A populace that cannot coordinate, cannot fight back. Here's another one. Is that a real thing in our society? Make education a privilege and champion delusion. Is that a real thing? I want to tell you, what is the objective of that? A witless populace cannot fight back. Here's another one. Punish, is that real in our society? Punish dissent in the open and reward loyalty in secret. Is that a real thing? Do we see that in our society? What is the objective of their doing that? A populace in fear cannot fight back. And the penultimate one, the one before the last. Look at that. Isn't that a real thing in our society? Keep work hours long and keep free time short. Why is that? A tired populace cannot fight back. Isn't that a real thing in our society? And the last one I want to point out to you is keep healthcare beyond our reach and keep medicine expensive. Isn't that a real thing? Why is that? A sick populace cannot fight back. I'm telling you, being a migrant farm worker, I'm telling you, my children are always sick. Why are my children always sick? Because they don't eat properly. Why they don't eat properly? Because I earn minimum wage and I do not earn a living wage. I earn minimum wage and I do not earn a living wage. Isn't that a reality in our world? Why am I getting a minimum wage? Because of unjust laws and policies. Because of those unjust laws and policies, the cost of living is high. The cost of living is high. I spend so much on medication and so on, so I have very little money left for food. And because of that, my children are not eating properly and the cycle goes on. My children are illiterate. The children of migrant workers are illiterate. Why is that so? Because of minimum wage, we cannot afford the best for them, and the cycle, our social ills and so on. We're caught in a cycle. We are caught in a cycle. Is that an accident or isn't that by design? I want to tell you a couple of two simple things before we finish. Two things here. A lot of people see this world as a place that supplies us with all our basic necessities, our food, our clothing, our shelter. Some people see it as a place full of resources, and they want to take care of it, that when our children get to use it, that it is a better place. But other people see it as a place that they should grab it, They should grab all of it and exploit it. Everywhere those people landed, what do we see? What do we see? Everywhere those people landed, what do we see? We see genocide. We see not just slavery, barbaric slavery. What do we see? Colonialism. And in Canada, what do we see continuing? Residential school, Chinese railroad workers, 60 school, THC, the home children. And right now, I'm talking about the seasonal agricultural workers program. There's always a program that dehumanizes. Canada always consistently have programs in place to dehumanize and exploit people. And in closing, because of time, I want to tell you that being a migrant farm worker in Canada, we face 20 injustices. And those 20 injustices, they are at every level of government. And I'm pretty sure I'll have time to touch up on that in my Q&A. I want to tell you, in closing now, I want to tell you two things. One is, a while ago, I pointed out about this residential school. I'm pretty sure everybody in here should be, by now, we should be aware of those 94 calls to action. Imagine the injustices inflicted on the indigenous people. They're calling on you, they're calling on me to do 94 things to make right those injustices. Not 2 things, not 3 things to make it right, not 4 things, 94 things to make those injustices right. What is that? Where did that happen? Is it south of the border? Where am I talking about? Right here, right under our nose. These are the forces that we are fighting. When it's taken so many action, we need so much to undo the injustices that those people face, right? I want to tell you that being a migrant farm worker, I was forced to come to Canada, I'm like a sandwich I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. I was forced to come to Canada. Why is that? Because of difficult conditions back home. Displacement, poverty, unemployment, and so on. Coming to Canada, thinking I'm coming to greater pastures, I'm facing those 20 injustices, just as tough as being back home. So I'm caught in the middle, being caught between a rock and a hard place. Is that an accident or isn't that by design? I want to tell you, I've made an egg sandwich out of that. Being caught between a rock and a hard place, I've made an egg sandwich. We all know that an egg is a fragile thing, right? It can break easily. We know that. We all know that if I break that egg from the outside, I would kill life. But we all know that if that egg is broken from the inside, from a force from the inside, life comes out of that. Tonight, I'm telling you, I want you to open your hands. Only our hands are needed in Canada. Migrant workers, only our hands are needed to do the dirty work, right? I'm telling you tonight, there's power in your hands as a voter. There's power in your hands as a consumer. There's power in your hands as a human being. Whatever skill you have, there's power in your hands. Tonight, I'm going to challenge you. What are you going to do with that power that's in your hands? I want you to discover that power. And what are you going to do with that power? Are you going to do those things that will crush that egg from the outside? Or are you going to do those things that will cause Canada to break that shell and bring new life and bring a fair and just society? Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
My understanding. I want to tell the audience that that is a fact. Food is not a basic human right in Canada. That is a fact. Food is a commodity. Food is profit before people. That is a fact in Canada. I want to tell you, Canada has a supply management system in place. I'm telling you, if all the food that's been produced in Canada is allowed to come to the market, the cost of food would be within everybody's reach. But Canada has a supply management. They control the supply. Whose objective is that serving? You, the consumer, or the producer? And that is a very, very big barrier for us. Another important issue I want to tell you is when it comes to migrant workers, not having status denies us a lot of basic rights, and one of them is, if you look at employment standards, we're exempted from getting overtime pay. After we get in minimum wage, we are denied we are denied the right to access to get overtime pay. Now, what does that do to us? What does that do to us? Our spending power is placed, it is, we are kept within a certain spending power, right? And what does that mean? We are prevented from accessing so many things. I want to tell you, to change things around is a simple remedy, right? We face 20 injustices, and the remedy for the one painkiller, the cure for it, it does not cure all our problems, but the one thing that will cure most of the 20 injustices is status. If we have status, let me give you one example. Right now, we have a tied work permit. We are tied to our employer. We are at our employer's mercy. If we have status, it means that we have an open work permit. What does that mean? An open work permit allows us to work with anybody who's willing to hire us. So what will that do? That will put pressure on our employers to create the working conditions that would attract us and that would keep us. But when we are tied to our employer, by being tied to your employer, where's the pressure? The burden is on us, the worker, to please the employer, to always please the employer. We are the employer's mercy. So what we are going forward, what we are asking for, we want a Canadian food system that is healthy. We want a Canadian food system that's sustainable, but we also want a Canadian food system that is just. And to make it just, it's status upon arrival. Now, what does that mean? In years gone by, and not many, many years gone by, Canada had the borders open for people coming from Europe. As soon as they landed, they had status. They even gave them land on top of it. That's not something new. Look at what is happening in Ukraine. Canada has suddenly opened the borders and there's no cap. Canada has had a cap for people from Syria. They had a cap for people from Afghanistan. But when it comes to Ukraine, there's no cap. They said that they're open to any number. Any number. Is that an accident? Is that an accident? And that is the same thing we're asking for, that migrant workers who are coming to Canada, they should be granted status upon arrival. That would change the dynamics of things, because there's the system as it is, there's high power imbalance, high power, and that is the only one thing that would help to address most of the issues that we face is status upon arrival. Now, I want to tell you, in Canada, the average person understands status as, if you have status, if you're landed, you can live in Canada. That's the average understanding. I understand that. But let me tell you, as a migrant worker, status, what does status mean? Status means that thing that would help us to access decent work, that thing that would help us access equality, that thing that will help us to access respect. It is that thing that would help us to be united with our family. That's what status really means to us. Not just living in Canada, it's more than that. It means being treated fairly, being access to overtime. It means so many things when it comes to both employment standards and also human rights issues. So status is a fully loaded statement, very, very fully loaded. And that's, to us, status is the cure for all. It does not cure our racism, but it will cure most of the issues that we face along the food system. I hope that answers the question in a nutshell. But I'm open to other ideas and other solutions, because we are the receiving end, right? And we've been hearing calls for cut the police. What's it? Defund the police, right? Look at how much money is spent on policing in our area. But when it comes to food security, why not some funds be used in that direction to make sure that people in the same area that has been heavily policed, why don't those resources be used, diverted into getting us food secure? So there are lots of issues, but from the migrant workers' standpoint, status is that cure for all, that painkiller for us. It's our Tylenol, it's our Panadol, it's our Advil. Thank you.